Hey fish keepers, Cam here from thefishroom.co.nz, and have you ever been really frustrated that you haven't been able to grow the plants you've recently bought, or do your plants keep dying on you, you can't quite work out why? Well, in this video we're going to go through 5 species that I consider forever plants that absolutely everybody can grow with no hassles, no issues whatsoever. The first family of plants we look at is Cryptocorynes. These are a Southeast Asian species. They're a very beautiful species. They can grow quite tall, some of them, and quite low, other ones. And as you can see, they're going to have lots of different leaf shapes, lots of colour variations, lots of crinkles, lots of flat leaves. There's a lot of variation in that family. They are massive root feeders, so they do really well with a really rich substrate, or if you put root balls or root tabs underneath them, they're really going to love you for it. So as you can see here, Cryptocorynes grows quite tall, got a bit of a pattern through its leaf. It's a very, very nice plant. This one here is Cryptophanes. Underneath the leaf of this is like a bronzy red kind of colour, which is absolutely gorgeous. So it's nice to get sort of 2 colours from the one plant, which is really nice as well. And then with this here, the Cryptophanes, it's a totally different shape. It's got a bit of a stalk and then a leaf on top of it as well. So lots of variation between the one family of plants, which is really nice. They also have the ability to grow out of water. So as you can see here, this is Cordata, which we showed earlier in this video. And this is Winditai. This is the best way of being able to flower your crypts to positively ID them. Next group of plants we're going to look at is Echinodorus. These are a South American species of plant. They go various sizes, various colorations, and lots of different leaf shapes in them. Again, another very hardy, forever species of plant or family of plant. Every now and then you might need to trim a leaf off, like you can see on the bottom right hand side, but that's about it. They're pretty easy going. They do enjoy a really strong root tab or substrate again, and this is how they reproduce. They'll send out, most of them will send out a flower stalk, and then as that plant gets bigger, gets heavier, drops back into the ground, into your substrate, and reproduces a new plant, which is really cool to see. If you've ever seen any footage of the Echinodorus in the wild, it's really quite a sight to see the fields of them just growing along. These ones are all in the shop tank, so they get a bit of beating while they're having fish caught in them and stuff like that. So as you can see here, it's just hanging along by the roots and it's still going fine. It's another species that can be grown out of water as well, and they will also flower as well, which is kind of cool. And so we've just got your standard Amazon sword right there as well, just in a bit of a muddy peat bucket at the moment. The next species we're going to be looking at is the Anubias family. So with Anubias, you can attach it to wood or rock, it grows just fine, or you can have it floating. You can grow it in your substrate as long as you keep your rhizome out of the substrate, otherwise it will rot. Because the roots are exposed to the water for the best part of their life, they draw a lot of their nutrients from the roots, but you'll need to be feeding a liquid fertilizer, otherwise they're not going to basically draw from the substrate unless you're planting them that, which most people don't. Come in lots of different various colours, sizes, shapes, and all that kind of good stuff, and they're incredibly hardy. This one here hasn't had a light on it for over 8-9 months or something like that, and it's still growing just fine. It's a very slow grower and it doesn't appreciate bright light. So low to mid light will be fine for it, and this one here can also grow out of water, as you can see that we're growing it in the frog tank. As long as the roots stay wet and the leaves stay a bit damp, they're normally good to go. Next species we're going to look at is Java fern variety, so this is just a standard broadleaf one. Again, much like the Anubias family, they can be attached to wood or rock quite comfortably. You can grow them in the substrate, but if you dig the rhizome in again, they'll rot. This is a needle-leaf version of the Java fern. Hasn't had any light on it again for 7, 8, 9 months or something like that, and it's going fine. Not in the most ideal health, but it's absolutely not dying. And very soon we will see one that has been neglected even more, had even less light. It's in a really dim tank, and all of the leaves are beginning to deteriorate. You can see there that the rhizomes themselves are healthy as. So again, a very, very hardy plant that you shouldn't really struggle too much with. They're almost impossible to kill. They're also easy enough to grow out of water like this. Is my little Java fern farm. It's growing quite nicely in there. Nice and humid, nice and muggy for happy days. And last but not least is Tiger Lotus. They come in both green and red. This is a green version, so I don't have a red at the moment. They love drawing nutrients from their roots. They produce their pups from underneath, so a really rich substrate, and they will go really well for you. They grow fine in medium light. As long as you're giving them decent rich substrate, they'll be sweet. And honourable mention goes to Dwarf Sagittaria, almost impossible to kill. It's a great little plant. So there you go, top 5 unkillable plants. Thank you.